Good morning, everybody, and today we are going to learn about administrative law. So, let's start with the first chapter of administrative law, that is the meaning, scope, definition, and the significance of administrative law. But before that, we need to understand what includes in a functional state. Now, functional state has two main criteria. One is the government and other one is the society, and they both interdepend on each other to form a proper state. Okay, so when a society does anything wrong, that is, as the private individuals do anything wrong, we have the law to sanction our wrongdoings. Okay, and on the other hand, we have the government, and the government, as we know, have many government servants to carry out their task of the which is given by the government. So, in such a case, if these government servants, as we know, have a huge power in their hands, and it's very obvious that even when there is such a power, it's obvious that there may be some cases the power may be abused. So, in such a case, when a government officer or a government servant fails to do its duty and not abide by the natural laws, this is when the administrative law is used, that is to sanction the and to question the government servants and the government officers of the administrative body. It is here where the role of the administrative law begins. Now, with the great power, as we know, comes the great responsibility. It is with the help of this administrative law that we remind the government officials of their responsibility. Again, as we know that the administrative law does not have any kind of sections or articles in it. Therefore, it is mostly a judgment law or the law which is made by the judge, and therefore it can be very flexible as and according to the discretion of the judge. It is the administrative law which helps us, the law students, to understand the moral and the ethical aspect of the administration through these judge-made laws. Next, let's look into some of the definitions which are given by various jurists around the world. Now, these definitions will be more important to you in case you are going to answer the UCG NET law exam. Now, firstly, let's look into the definition given by Austin. Now, according to Austin defines administrative law as one which determines the end and modes to which the sovereign power shall exercise. Therefore, to him, sovereign power should be either exercised directly by the monarch or entrusted to subordinate political agents, which holds the position of the trust. So, according to him, the administrative law helping to execute the power of the sovereign, and therefore according to him the power should be exercised by the monarch or it can be exercised by the political agents who has the power to exercise these powers. Now the next jurist is Holland. According to Holland, in his book of Introduction to the American Administrative Law in the year 1958, he defines administrative law as one of the 6 divisions of public law. Further, if we move to the definition of Bernard Schwartz, he defines administrative law as the law applicable to those administrative agencies which possess power of delegated legislation and adjudicatory authority. Now, according to Sir Ivor Jennings, he defines the administrative law is the law which relates to administration in his book of the law and the constitution in the year 1959. Macy defines the law of administration as the branch of public law which deals with the organization and the power of administration and the quasi-administrative agency. Okay, now let's look into 2 more definition and then we can move to the scope of the administrative law. So, according to Freud, he defines the administrative law as the nature and the operation of the official power, a formal procedure conditioned for the exercise of the power, and the official and the communal liability. And lastly, let's look into the definition of K.C. Davis. Now, according to him, administrative law is the law which is related to power and procedure of administrative agencies and the judicial review. Okay, now I hope you all are taking notes of the markings which I have been doing while the definition is being conducted, as these definitions, as you know, if you can remember it, well and good, but if you can't remember it, it's very important to know the key words here and there which is related to the jurist or the scholar. Okay, now let's look into the scope of administrative law. Now, administrative law has given rise to various things over here, and therefore we are going to look into in brief at the moment, but in the later chapters we'll be dealing with them in the detail. Okay, so first thing we are going to look into is the natural justice. Natural justice has two main criteria. One is the odi alterum paltrum, that is to be heard from the both the sides, and secondly the rule of bias, and the third is reasoned decisions. The administrative law has also given rise to the rule of law, which will be dealing in a whole separate video, so do not worry about it. Administrative law has also given rise to power conferred on the administration by the administrative law. Again, it is very important to understand that the nature of the administrative law is such that since it's a judgment law, it can be modified as the time passes. Therefore, if there are new laws which are introduced, then again it is like on the judge's discretion how he is going to deal with such a case at hand. Therefore, there is always room for modification and room for improvement in such a case. And as we know that the society changes, society 10 decades ago is not the same as how it is today. Therefore, the society continues to grow, and so thus the all laws along with it grows as well. Therefore, in a similar nature, as the law will change and adapt to the society, the similar way the administrative law also changes and adapts to the case and the society. Now lastly, let's look into the significance of the administrative law. Now, an administrative law has many roles to play. As the constitution governs the administrators, it is the role of the judges to protect and interpret the constitution. Now, administrators of India has various roles. Firstly, the main important role is to make policies. That's the main role of the administrators of India. Secondly, to look into the legislation and to guide the legislation towards the proper formulation of law. Thirdly, to execute and administrate various land related laws. Fourthly and lastly is to exercise various bylaw orders and decrees, etc. So these are all the topic which is related to the main introduction of the administrative law. So in the next chapter we'll be dealing with development. Moreover, we are going to also look into the difference between the administrative law and the constitutional law as well. I'll see you all soon. Thank you so much.